Let's be honest. Everything you've ever been told about exercise after 60 is probably wrong. Every doctor, every magazine, every well-meaning family member has preached the same advice. Walk more. Hit 10,000 steps a day, they say, and you'll stay healthy. Sounds simple, right? But here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. Walking alone isn't enough. In fact, for adults over 60, it barely scratches the surface of what your body truly needs to maintain strength, independence, and vitality. A groundbreaking study from the University of Missouri in 2023 revealed something shocking. Seniors who performed specific seated exercises gained 27% more functional strength than those who only walked. Let that sink in, husonheit purutsa. That's the difference between effortlessly lifting your grandchildren and struggling to get out of a chair. And yet, the walking industry, the shoe companies, the fitness trackers, treadmill manufacturers have built a multi-billion-dollar empire around the idea that walking is the ultimate exercise for seniors. The reality? Orthopedic surgeons have known for decades that walking, while excellent for cardiovascular health, does almost nothing to combat the muscle loss that begins after age 60. This condition, called sarcopenia, is silent and relentless. After 30, adults lose 3–5% of their muscle mass every decade. By the time you reach 70, you could have lost nearly a third of your strength. Walking alone can't stop it, but targeted chair exercises can, and they work better than most people imagine. A 2022 Harvard medical study followed over 2,000 seniors for 18 months. Those who performed seated resistance movements gained muscle mass, while those who simply walked lost it. The most incredible part? The number one exercise on that list, which we'll reveal at the end, increased bone density by 19% in participants over 65. Surgeons now prescribe this same movement to patients recovering from hip replacements because it outperforms nearly every traditional physical therapy protocol. Before we dive in, take a moment to comment below with your age and where you're watching from. We read every single response, and we love hearing your stories. Now, let's start with number 5, the exercise most people ignore, and yet it's one of the most powerful for circulation and leg health. Seated calf raises may sound simple, even trivial. You sit in a chair and lift your heels off the ground. But don't underestimate them. This tiny movement targets the most underrated muscles in your lower body, the gastrocnemius and soleus, your calf muscles. Every time you contract them, you activate what's called the venous pump, pushing blood from your lower legs back up to your heart. This is crucial because, as we age, blood struggles to return from the feet against gravity. Weak calves lead to blood pooling, swelling, varicose veins, and a significantly higher risk of dangerous clots. A 2021 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology examined 140 seniors with mild circulation issues. Half performed seated calf raises 3 times per week, while the other half didn't change anything. After just 12 weeks, the exercise group saw a 41% improvement in blood return efficiency. Ankles were less swollen, legs felt lighter, and the risk factors for deep vein thrombosis dropped dramatically. Walking engages calves, yes, but not like this. When you walk, hundreds of muscles share the workload. Seated calf raises isolate these critical pumping muscles, forcing them to work harder. To do them properly, sit in a sturdy chair with feet flat and knees at 90 degrees. Press through the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as possible. Hold for 2 seconds, feeling a strong squeeze in the back of your legs, then lower slowly. That slow descent creates eccentric contraction, which builds muscle far more effectively than the lift itself. Start with 15 reps, working up to 3 sets of 25. Once easy, place a small weight on your thighs to accelerate gains. Even patients with hip or knee problems can perform this safely, because the work is in the ankles and calves. Do it every day, ideally morning and evening, and in just 2 weeks, your legs will feel noticeably stronger and lighter. This is the foundation, the starting point for improving lower body function, circulation, and independence. And once you master this, we'll move to an exercise that targets a completely different problem: your quadriceps, the muscles that determine whether you can climb stairs, get out of a car, or stand up from a toilet without assistance. Now that your calves are firing properly, it's time to turn attention to a muscle group that often gets overlooked but is absolutely essential for daily independence: your quadriceps. These are the large muscles on the front of your thighs, responsible for every movement where you lift, stand, or stabilize your legs. Yet, they deteriorate faster than almost any other muscle as you age. Research from the University of Vermont in 2020 tracked 400 adults over 5 years and revealed a stark reality. Adults over 60 lose quadriceps strength at nearly double the rate of younger adults. Those who neglected targeted leg exercises lost an average of 16% of their thigh muscle mass. But here's the good news: the group performing seated knee extensions 3 times a week actually gained 4%. That's a 20% difference from one simple exercise. Walking can't compete with this, because it doesn't provide the resistance your quads need. On flat ground, your legs swing freely, and your quadriceps barely work. Muscles adapt to the load you put on them. Without targeted resistance, they shrink. Seated knee extensions fix this. They force your quads to lift your lower leg against gravity, sending a clear signal to your muscles to grow. To perform them correctly, sit tall in a chair with your back pressed firmly against the backrest. Grip the sides for stability. Extend one leg fully in front of you until your knee locks out, toes pointing toward the ceiling. Hold for 3 seconds while squeezing your thigh as hard as you can, then slowly lower over 4 seconds. The slow descent is critical. It's where eccentric contraction builds the most strength. Repeat 12 times per leg, resting 30 seconds, and perform 2 more sets. The key is the mind-muscle connection. Simply lifting your leg isn't enough. Focus on contracting your quadriceps like you're trying to make them pop out of your skin. A 2023 study in the European Journal of Applied Physiology confirmed that participants who actively squeezed their muscles gained 31% more strength than those who went through the motions. Once the exercise feels manageable, add ankle weights or a resistance band for extra challenge. Orthopedic surgeons often recommend this to patients over 60 because strong quads protect your knees from osteoarthritis, acting as a shock absorber for every step you take. Next, we move to a muscle group you may have forgotten even exists: your hip flexors. These are the hidden controllers of your walking ability. Primarily the iliopsoas and rectus femoris, every step you take requires lifting your thigh toward your chest. When hip flexors weaken, your gait changes. You shuffle instead of stepping. Your feet barely clear the floor, which is why many seniors trip over seemingly nothing. A landmark Mayo Clinic study in 2022 examined the gait patterns of 800 adults aged 60-85. Hip flexor weakness emerged as the single greatest predictor of falls. Those with the weakest muscles were 4 times more likely to fall within a year. Falls aren't minor inconveniences, they're life-altering. 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls annually, and 20% of those falls result in serious injuries like fractures or head trauma. Hip fractures, in particular, trigger a cascade of health decline, with 30% of seniors who break a hip dying within a year. Seated hip marches directly strengthen these muscles, preventing falls before they happen. Sit on the front half of your chair with your spine tall and core engaged, not leaning back. Lift your right knee toward your chest as high as comfortably possible. Hold for 2 seconds, then lower slowly and switch legs. Perform 20 alternating repetitions, 3 sets, resting 1 minute between sets. Increase difficulty by holding the lift longer or adding ankle weights. Surgeons have observed that patients who perform hip marches daily before joint replacement recover significantly faster. Their muscles are primed and strong, making rehabilitation smoother. This exercise also improves balance by forcing your core to stabilize while one leg is elevated. From calves to quads to hip flexors, these seated exercises are designed to rebuild the foundations of mobility, strength, and independence. Walking can support your heart, but it won't protect you from falls, frailty, or the slow erosion of critical muscle groups. The next step, in Part 3, is about upper body strength, pulling muscles you use every day but rarely train with walking alone. These muscles determine your posture, protect your spine, and allow you to maintain independence in countless ways. Now that we've rebuilt the strength in your lower body, it's time to focus on your upper body, specifically the muscles that keep your posture upright, your spine supported, and your daily movements strong. These are your back muscles, the latissimus dorsi, rhomboids, and rear deltoids. Every action that requires pulling, lifting, or reaching depends on these muscles. Yet walking alone does almost nothing for them. When they weaken, your shoulders round forward, your upper spine curves, and you develop the hunched posture that many older adults struggle with. This isn't just cosmetic. Poor posture compresses your lungs, strains your neck, increases fall risk, and creates chronic shoulder and back pain. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation followed 300 seniors over 6 months. One group focused on walking. The other performed seated rowing exercises with resistance bands. By the end, the rowing group improved spinal posture by an average of 8 degrees and reported 63% less neck and upper back pain. The walking group showed no measurable change. This is proof that targeted resistance, not movement alone, protects your body from age-related decline. To perform seated rows, all you need is a simple resistance band. Sit tall in a chair with feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. Loop the band around the soles of your feet and hold one end in each hand. Extend your arms forward with slight tension. Now pull your elbows back, squeezing your shoulder blades together, as if pinching a pencil between them. Hold for 2 seconds, then slowly return to the starting position, keeping control. Don't let the band snap back. Perform 15 repetitions per set and complete 3 sets. Choose a band that challenges you. The last few reps should feel difficult. If it feels easy, double up or use a thicker band. Surgeons often recommend this exercise after spinal procedures because it rebuilds the muscular support structure that protects your vertebrae. Strong back muscles act like guy wires on a tent, holding your spine in proper alignment and preventing degeneration. They reduce pain, improve breathing, and enhance overall functional strength. Once your lower body is strong and your back muscles are engaged, you're ready for the single most important movement of all, the sit-to-stand squat. In Part 4, we'll cover why this exercise is considered the ultimate test of longevity, how it engages almost every major muscle in your lower body, and why surgeons are prescribing it as preventive medicine. Now we arrive at the crown jewel of these chair exercises, the sit-to-stand squat. This is not just an exercise, it's a functional test of longevity and strength. Researchers have repeatedly shown that your ability to rise from a seated position without using your hands is a powerful predictor of overall health and mortality. A landmark study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology followed more than 2,000 adults over age 51 for 6 years. Those who could not stand from a chair without assistance were 5 to 6 times more likely to die during the study period. That's not an exaggeration. This simple movement is a window into your lower body strength, balance, and even your bone density. The beauty of the sit-to-stand squat is that it engages virtually every major muscle group in your lower body at once. Your quadriceps straighten your knees, your glutes extend your hips, and your calves stabilize your ankles. Meanwhile, your core maintains balance, and your back keeps your spine aligned. No other exercise replicates this combination of strength, coordination, and functional utility. And here's the key. This movement mirrors actions you perform dozens of times every day: getting out of bed, rising from a chair, exiting a car, using the bathroom. By training this pattern, you're not building abstract strength. You're building power that immediately translates into real-life independence. To perform the sit-to-stand squat safely and effectively, start seated in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, slightly wider than hip-width apart. Cross your arms over your chest to prevent using your hands for assistance. Lean forward slightly so your weight shifts over your feet. Push through your heels and stand up fully, straightening your knees and hips. Pause for a moment at the top, then lower yourself slowly over 4 seconds, keeping control the entire time. The slow descent, called the eccentric phase, is where most of the strength gains happen. Do not plop down. Begin with 10 repetitions if you're a beginner, and work up to 3 sets of 15. To increase difficulty, hold a light weight at your chest, like a gallon of water, or slow the descent even further to 6 or 8 seconds. Surgeons now recommend this exercise not just for strength, but for bone density. In fact, adults over 65 who perform sit-to-stand exercises 3 times per week can increase hip and femur bone density by 19%, a remarkable reversal of age-related bone loss. Stronger bones mean a dramatically lower risk of fractures if a fall occurs. This exercise also prepares your body for potential joint surgeries and daily activities. Strong legs, stable hips, and balanced posture reduce recovery time and improve outcomes for anyone undergoing orthopedic procedures. In Part 5, we'll explore how combining these 5 exercises, lower body, hip flexors, back, and sit-to-stand, creates a complete resistance routine that outperforms walking for seniors, preserving independence and vitality well into old age. By now, you've seen how each of these chair exercises targets a critical area of your body that walking alone simply cannot reach. But the real magic happens when you combine them into a simple, structured routine. Performing all 5 exercises, seated calf raises, knee extensions, hip marches, seated rows, and sit-to-stand squats, creates a full-body resistance workout that not only strengthens muscles, but improves circulation, balance, posture, and bone density. This is the exact kind of routine orthopedic surgeons recommend for maintaining independence after 60. Start by sequencing your exercises from the lower legs up. Begin with seated calf raises to wake up circulation and prime the veins for blood flow. Follow with seated knee extensions to engage your quadriceps, the powerhouse of mobility for stairs, chairs, and daily movement. Next, perform hip marches to strengthen your hip flexors, the unsung heroes that determine whether you walk with stability or shuffle unsteadily. After that, move to seated rows to target the back muscles that keep your posture upright, your spine supported, and your shoulders from rounding forward. Finally, end with sit-to-stand squats, the ultimate test and builder of lower body power, balance, and functional strength. Consistency is key. Aim for 3 sessions per week. And remember that quality matters more than quantity. Slow, controlled movements with deliberate muscle engagement produce far better results than rushing through reps. Focus on the eccentric phase of each exercise, the lowering part, which is where most strength and muscle gains occur. Even just 15 minutes per session is enough to see measurable improvements within a few weeks. The benefits are cumulative and profound. Improved circulation from calf raises reduces swelling and lowers the risk of dangerous blood clots. Strengthened quadriceps and hip flexors reduce fall risk and make climbing stairs or standing from a low seat effortless. Strong back muscles combat the hunched posture that ages your appearance and compresses your lungs, while sit-to-stand squats improve bone density and provide functional strength for daily living. When you perform this routine consistently, walking becomes more enjoyable, not the other way around. Walking still benefits cardiovascular health, but it is no longer your sole tool. By combining these targeted resistance exercises, you create a strong foundation for long-term vitality, independence, and confidence. You'll notice your movements become smoother, daily tasks feel easier, and your energy levels rise. In the final part, Part 6, we'll reveal how to integrate this routine into a sustainable lifestyle, including tips for progression, recovery, and tracking your gains so that your strength improvements translate into lifelong independence and quality of life. Now that you understand the 5 essential chair exercises and their incredible benefits, the next step is making them part of your daily routine. The key to long-term success is consistency, progression, and mindfulness. Think of these exercises not as a chore, but as a deliberate investment in your independence, mobility, and quality of life. The goal isn't to become an athlete overnight, it's to maintain strength, balance, and function so that every movement in your day feels easier, safer, and more confident. Start by scheduling your sessions like any other important appointment. Aim for 3 non-consecutive days per week to allow your muscles adequate recovery. On each session, perform the exercises in the order we discussed. seated calf raises, knee extensions, hip marches, seated rows, and sit to stand squats. Begin with the recommended repetitions and sets, focusing on controlled motion, proper alignment, and deliberate muscle engagement. Quality always outweighs quantity. If a movement feels too easy, increase resistance gradually using ankle weights, resistance bands, or even household items like small water bottles. Tracking your progress is a simple but powerful motivator. Keep a notebook or use a smartphone app to record your repetitions, sets, and any weight or resistance used. Over time, you'll notice measurable improvements. Stronger leg lifts, better balance, increased ease when standing from chairs, and improved posture. These small victories accumulate, giving you tangible proof that your strength is returning and your independence is being preserved. Recovery is equally important. Even though these are seated exercises, your muscles are working against resistance, and soreness is a natural part of growth. Make sure to stretch gently after each session, especially your calves, quads, and hip flexors. Stay hydrated and prioritize sleep, as quality rest supports muscle repair, hormone balance, and energy levels. Another critical aspect is integrating movement into your daily life. Even outside of your exercise routine, be mindful of how you use your muscles. Stand up without pushing off your hands whenever possible. Engage your core when lifting objects, and take a few moments to march in place or perform mini calf raises while watching TV or waiting for food to cook. These small, repeated movements complement your chair exercises and accelerate your functional gains. The cumulative effect of this approach is transformative. By dedicating just 15 to 20 minutes, 3 times a week, you're not only fighting sarcopenia and preserving muscle mass, you're improving balance, reducing fall risk, enhancing circulation, supporting bone density, and protecting your joints. You're actively counteracting decades of muscle loss that walking alone can never address. This is what orthopedic surgeons wish all patients understood. Targeted, controlled resistance exercises are the most effective way to maintain independence as we age. Finally, remember that your mindset matters as much as the exercises themselves. Approach this routine with purpose. Visualize yourself moving freely and confidently, and treat each session as a step toward long-term vitality. Celebrate every improvement, no matter how small, because each repetition is building strength that directly impacts your daily life. If you follow this plan consistently, within a few weeks you'll notice tangible changes. Climbing stairs will feel effortless. Standing from a low chair will no longer be a challenge. Your posture will improve, and your confidence in everyday activities will skyrocket. Your independence will no longer feel fragile, it will feel reinforced. So start today. Master the seated calf raises first. Progress through each exercise at your own pace. And by the time you reach the sit-to-stand squats, you'll be performing one of the most important longevity exercises known to modern medicine. Share your progress, experiences, and questions in the comments so we can celebrate your gains together. Remember, this isn't just exercise, it's the path to living a stronger, healthier, and more independent life for years to come. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you found this helpful. Subscribe for more senior health strategies, and share this with a friend or family member who deserves to move through life with strength and confidence. Your future self will thank you for the commitment you make today.